Hey guys, so another episode coming your way, and this is all around your nutrition and strength training, which should relate to your mileages. Now, guys, if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you do not miss any videos from me, so I can give you as much information and support as possible. Okay, so today, what I'm wanting to discuss with you is something that I find I speak about a lot with people, potentially in DMs, conversations with when I pick clients up, is they potentially done certain methods in the past which haven't worked. And why haven't they worked? And one big reason which I find is really, really important for you to relate it to is your nutrition and strength training needs to relate to your running mileages. I just want you to think about it this way. Have you done this before? Have you been in a position where running mileages increase and you stay on the same strength training program? It doesn't change. Or when it decreases, it doesn't change. The same with the nutrition. When your mileages increase, it doesn't change. Or when it decreases, it doesn't change again. It's like we're in this position of like trying to like focus our attention on maybe improving our running performance right now. And we're not getting anywhere. We're potentially having like recovery issues. You maybe notice some flare-ups. You're feeling quite tired. You're having cravings. You're not sleeping well. Performance isn't getting where you need to be at right now. And you might not be enjoying the process that you're going down. It might be in a training block right now, which is so, so common for people who are in a training block, is they don't enjoy the process that they're going down. And for me, I understand like you guys are really busy. You've probably got a lot of family and work commitments, and it's like you haven't got time to think about nutrition. I totally get it. I understand that. And you may not necessarily be a person who likes to track, which is perfectly fine. The understanding of nutrition is really helpful, and it doesn't necessarily need to be related to a calorie amount. It could be the fact that you just add something addition to that as well, which I'll explain. So if you're in a position, let's start on nutrition is like we're at the start of our training block, and like mileage is relatively low right now, and it's gradually building, but it stays the same. Nutrition stays the same. Then you should be in a position really where you are gradually increasing your calories, depending on where you are within that training block. It just makes sense to do this. I would be doing this preferably more around the long run period. I'm talking like 24 hours before you actually go into the long run and on the day of the long run as well. Them 2 days are like vital for when you're in a training block with calories. And what does this look like? It's like, yes, we look at calories and like we can increase them, and we can look at carbohydrates amounts and grams and stuff like that and increase them. But in reality, like that's just a number. It's like, I'll be honest, like some people don't like to track calories. They find it hard. They may just feel a little bit confused of what type of foods they need to add in. And in reality, it could be as really simple as like adding an extra snack on, doubling up on your carbohydrates. So instead of having one portion of carbohydrates, you have two the evening before. Just little things like that. It could be like, in the morning for, before your long run, instead of you just having your normal high carb breakfast, you have like a glass of orange juice instead of a glass of water. It's just the additional thing that you may need to add in. And just adding them little additional things, as the mileage builds, can be amazing. And it doesn't need to be like a massive increase. Because I think sometimes there's like a lot of runners, they stick to the same nutrition plan. And then maybe when the mileage gets to a really high amount, they just like start to load a lot more in because they feel like they need it. And it like just playing a bit of a guessing game as if it's like helping. And I honestly find that's not the best way to do. If you're gradually adding things in, I think it's a little bit more helpful for you to consider thinking of. Now, with this, I think is helpful for you to listen to your body as well, because if you're in a position where you may need to play a little bit of trial and error with nutrition as well, because let's say, for instance, you do a long run. It wasn't the best run that you did. You're feeling quite tired right now. The recovery's not there. And if it's quite consistent and it's happening maybe over like a 2 or 3 weeks, because you might just have like a poor night's sleep and it might not be anything to do with nutrition. But if it's happening quite regularly over like 2 or 3 weeks, then I'd just be saying that like, is this really a sign? Like, what was it eating like before me long run? What was it having like during the run or afterwards? Like, pre during, post, nutrition, long run. Just consider them things, guys, because if your sleep pattern's out, you're not recovering well, you're feeling tired, you've got cravings, that's a sign that we're under fueling. So sometimes it may be a bit of trial and error. Okay, I need to just add that additional thinking as well. And then when you've added that additional thinking, test it, see how you feel. You might feel a lot better. You might actually feel a lot better today. It's like when you do that, you're more likely to progress and move forwards because you're understanding the recovery process, which doesn't necessarily need to be really difficult. Sometimes you just need to listen to our own body and how it's reacting to a higher mileage. Really, really helpful. Let's go into strength training. I see this quite a lot. It's like, a lot of runners, they may go with personal trainers. The personal trainer gives them a full body workout session. They're consistently working on full body movements. They're working on deadlifts, squats, presses, pulls, generate a lot of energy. You stick to them movements, preferably towards the start of your training block, which may be okay to do, because your body's actually okay to recover from that mileage that you're hitting. But if it stays the same, and you're noticing that odd niggle that's happening around your hips or your knees or something like that, and it's like just doesn't feel right at all. And like, yeah, sport specific exercises cater for running are really helpful. But I think sometimes with injuries, it doesn't just come from that. It can come from just the intensity of strength training alongside the running mileages that you're actually doing. So for me, I think is a great opportunity for you to listen to your body in that way as well. Because if you're noticing the odd flare up, because that's how it starts, isn't it? It just feels a little bit uncomfortable around your knees or your hips or whatever. It's like that's a sign. But some people just run through and they just, maybe just like take it a little bit easy with the runs or whatever. It's like that's not solving the situation, especially if you're doing strength training as well. So being in a position where you're like, okay, well, I'm noticing this odd flare up, it's a sign. Let's take a back seat with some squats and stuff like that I've been doing it. I did squats last week. It was really intense. Like that's probably affected my recovery because you need to think about what you've been doing previously so it doesn't happen again. I do this with clients quite a lot. Is like they do a check-in with me every single week, and I'll be like, right, okay, so this is probably the reason for why it's happening. So, because runners potentially don't know that. They're not too sure of why this recovery is impacting them in some form of way. Doing that can be like amazing for you. It's the same with nutrition related to strength training. It needs to be adapted as you're going along. Sometimes I know this with clients anyways. Like I will like do it before they hit that flare up, before they get them recovery issues or them cravings. But you being in that position of not understanding that, sometimes it may just be for you to take a little bit of a back seat from, the really intense strength training session. If if your body's not necessarily recovering, you're noticing some of the odd flare up that's happening or fatigue around your legs or anything like that at all. It's like our sign to say, well, you know what, I'm going to take a back seat with just some of these big movements right now because they're impacting my recovery. And that could be a massive factor, which is a reason why we pick up injuries while we're in a training block as well, alongside fueling, which I think is another reason. But I just think, promoting more sport specific exercises I talk about quite a lot, like, the one-legged movements, the, movements that you do potentially maybe with the physio a little bit more, they may be implemented in a little bit more for you, which are probably less intense to do. They don't generate as much energy. They don't impact your recovery too much. You're not like struggling to walk the next day or whatever else. It's like these are the movements that you probably need a little bit more. And that intensity, like the weights that you're lifting, the repetitions, we don't want to be pushing to like maximal amount of reps where we're like going towards failure. You don't need to go to failure when your mileage is high because it's just not something which is going to help you. It's going to impact the recovery process. So we might just like, oh, well, I'm going to drop the weight a little bit more now. I'm going to take these type of exercises away. Anything like this can be really, really helpful for you to understand the process that you need to be doing when mileage increases to lower things down with strength training. When mileage increases, we gradually incorporate more calories and carbohydrates in. And it goes the same way when mileage drops as well. When you finish the race, it's like give yourself, a week or two of recovery and stuff. Now's the time where I can incorporate more intense workouts. I can start to increase it up a little bit more. Now's the time where I can lower my calories down a little bit more now because the mileage isn't necessarily there. And it's like you're increasing it up and then you're decreasing it down. These are things that I feel are really, really helpful because we don't understand how to relate our nutrition and our strength training to our running mileages that we're doing. If you focus on this, guys, it can be really, really helpful. If you need any more support, feel free to get in touch and I'll speak to you soon.